So what's going on, y'all? Today I wanted to do something a little bit different. This one is not going to be about any TV show or anything like that. This is just going to be me talking to you, just kind of letting you know about my content creation journey, letting you know a little bit of where I'm at. It's going to be like a self-interview. So I actually looked up some self-interview questions and I'm so excited to share this with y'all. So let's go ahead and roll the intro and then we can get into the video.
It's the power of G. What we doing, come and see. Making bold comments on movies and on TV. Everything magic, ironic, cause he the one. Go subscribe, cause it's easier to show you what's going on. It's the power of G.
So I hope that y'all are having a great day, and I hope that you enjoy this format because I'm trying to kind of toy around. If you've watched any of my previous videos, you'll know I'm kind of toying around a little bit with doing things differently, trying out some new things, and just seeing how it works for me, seeing how y'all receive it, and going from there. And I'm so sorry, I just hit the microphone, so if it made a noise. So before we get into the questions, I want to give you a little bit of background about me. So I have been making content, I would say probably for the past at least 3 to 4 years, somewhere in there, maybe a little bit longer. But I know for sure I have been like intentionally creating content at least since 2021. Before that, I kind of did a little bit of like here and there stuff, like it was very random, very sporadic. It was nothing like what it is now. So the people who've been following me for a long time, you might remember when I started posting charm content on TikTok because that was really where it started. Before that, I had done like a Ratchet Charm series, which I'm gonna change the name of, I think, because we're gonna get into that later on. But there's a very specific reason. I used to be known as the Ratchet Charmed one. Listen, we'll talk about it. I've always known that I could make people laugh, but in realizing that I could create videos that were funny, it wasn't just me doing like some random one-off thing. There were people who were actually entertained by it. I just got deeper and deeper into like this world of content creation and planning things out and trying to create things. And it has helped me so much to develop my sense of self, I think. So just a little bit about Ratchet Charmed and me being the Ratchet Charmed one. I love like Got to Be Real, the Legends panel, the Queen, I think it's Queen of Ratchet, the one that does like the Disney parodies, things like that. And I just was inspired because I was like, I know that I could make something funny like this, but I had always said, and told myself like, oh, I can't do this. There's no way I possibly could. And so what I ended up doing, one day I made a clip. One day I took a little snippet and I made a voiceover of the scene of Charmed where Billy, kills Christy.
Wait a minute. I know you just ain't kill them folks. What the hell is y'all doing? Your bald head ass sister brought us right to you.
Girl, I'm sorry.
It really stinks in here. Paige. Ring. Goddamn, girl, I said call for the ring, not holler for $1.
And it was so well received, and I just fell in love with doing it ever since then. And it was like, I had to kind of balance out, I think, what getting adoration was versus what actually made me happy. But that put me on that path to know I can make something funny. I can make something that people enjoy. So I actually want to bring Ratchet Charm back, but I also feel like I'm going to have to change the name because I'm just like, I don't know. I can't do that. Like if I'm trying to evolve myself, then I need to evolve the content along with it. I can't stay stuck in what I had it as in the past. So I think that going into this new iteration, that's what I'm going to do, just to kind of reflect the person that I've grown into and changed into. So since starting a TikTok and really starting to make content more seriously, I feel like I've grown a lot as a person and as a content creator. And I can see that growth reflected in, my different pages. I have a pretty good number of followers over on TikTok. I have Instagram is still... Girl, I don't know. That's still an unexplored frontier for me because Lord Jesus knows I don't be knowing what's going on there half of the time. YouTube is also growing for me, and I just feel like it's because I've put that work in and I have really started to hone my craft. And right now I'm really into commentary. I'm really into trying to collaborate with people. So that's sort of my main focus right now. And I feel like I've done a good job of segueing into that from just making solo content. Also, I'm gonna give a shout out to the Patreon later, but I was encouraged to start a Patreon, and I'm just so excited because I get so excited talking about it because it just, I didn't expect that it was gonna be anything. I thought like maybe one or two people at best would come on there, and it has just turned into something so beautiful, and I just am very, very thankful to everyone. That even inspired me to start an LLC. So yes, the Power of G Entertainment LLC does actually exist. That is a legal entity. That is something on paper. And I am truly hoping that I can just have it skyrocket and soar. So let's go ahead and get into the questions because I think that I have some really, really good ones. The very first question on the list is what inspired me to become a content creator? I have wanted to be an entertainer as long as I can remember. Like literally as a kid, I wanted to be an entertainer. I can remember when all that, y'all remember when they were doing like a casting special when they were bringing it back. This is in like 2003, five, I don't know, somewhere in there, and they were telling kids from around the nation to like send in audition tapes, and I wanted to send in an audition tape so bad, but I didn't have a camcorder, and at that point I didn't know fully, I guess, like how to make a routine up, and so I was like, what do I even say, what would I even, and so I feel like that was one of the first instances of me wanting to pursue it, but then telling myself, no, you don't have the resources, you don't have the ability, you don't have whatever. But I genuinely really got inspired to get into content creation like as a legitimate thing when I was listening to I Was Here by Beyonce. I love that song so much, but not just because it's beautiful, but I love that song because it made me realize I don't want to leave this earth and not have explored what I feel like I'm supposed to bring to this planet. Like what I'm supposed to bring to people, what I'm supposed to bring to the world. And that song, like, I don't think people know the significance of that song to me because it's about so much more than just wanting to leave a mark. For me, it's about knowing that I have something that God put in me to be able to share with people and wanting, like, having a deep down desire to share that. But like I said, the overall reason for me really wanting to get into content creation is just to bring these ideas that are up here in the old noggin to life. What were my biggest fears going into content creation? Listen, let me tell you something. I feel like my biggest fear was that I would not be well received. I felt like my biggest fear was that people would laugh at me, that I would sound dumb, that I didn't know what I was talking about. I was scared that people would listen to me and be like, "What are you even talking about?" I was so like I had a deep down fear that I was going to sound crazy. And when you've spent your entire life like being very insecure about the way you look, girl, I was like, these people gonna look at me and they gonna laugh, and then I'm gonna get laughed off the internet. Why am I doing this? But I just was like, I gotta do it. And I started a couple of times and I would stop because I was like, you sound crazy. You sound like you sound incoherent. You sound like you don't know what you're talking about. And that was one of my biggest fears. And so when I felt like I heard that in myself, I just stopped. And those have always been the things that scare me the most, is that I'm not going to be entertaining. It scares me that I'm not going to sound like I know what I'm talking about. That has been the biggest obstacle to overcome. I actually had a Charmed podcast that I was doing, and I've turned it into a YouTube series since. Okay, so I had a Charmed podcast where I was talking about like themes and whatever else, and it was real cute. Don't get me wrong, it was very, very cute. But then I realized, like, I don't know if I like this. So then I did like a little rewrite podcast, and then it turned into like I was gonna do a Charmed rewatch. Girl, I don't know. It was all over the place. Like when I tell you I was doing so many different things because I was constantly trying to course correct because I felt like what I was doing was so wrong and it was so bad. And so then I got scared that I'm gonna be one of those people that just like starts and stops and starts and stops. And so even though I feel like to a certain extent that's true, I feel like I also have persisted in trying to figure out, well, what does work for me instead of focusing on what doesn't. How has my style of content evolved over time? That is such a good question. I feel like over time, what I realized is my strength is more discussion based things. And so that's why sometimes, even when I make a YouTube video, I get nervous because I sit down. I don't think that I need a co host. I think that I do better when I have one because I think I can do that banter with someone else. Whereas when I'm trying to talk of my own accord, I feel like sometimes I ramble just a little bit. and I feel like I kind of get lost in the sauce a little bit. So I'm just being very candid with y'all because there's no point in me lying about it. I feel like over time, though, I have started to realize, okay, discussion based doesn't always mean that I have to have it structured perfectly down to the T. It doesn't have to be fully scripted. I think that I've learned how to express my thoughts and share what I want to share and convey the information that I want to convey. So I think that it's become a lot more focused on wanting to also give people a voice. So I feel like as I've started to kind of realize what my voice is, how I want it to be conveyed to other people, I have developed the ability to help other people with their voice. So when I say voice, I mean like with the thoughts that we have, child, not with the actual tone of your voice. Because if I could work on the tone, baby, I wouldn't be up here sounding like Mickey Mouse. Okay, I would be, girl. Anyway, don't even get me started on that. So, what part do I love the most and what part do I love the least about content creation? I feel like what I love the most is clearly the talking. I love to talk. I love being able to share my thoughts. I love being able to connect with people. I love being able to help people to sort of bring the thoughts that they have to life and give them a safe space to discuss it. That's probably been my favorite part of this journey is the community, the people that I've been able to bond with, and the fact that I've been able to give them a place to come and share their thoughts without the fear that they're gonna get like attacked, because baby, people on the internet can be my god. That's kind of the part that I don't like. That's kind of the part I like the least, is constantly having to navigate other people, constantly having to negative people, like people. And when I say negative, I don't mean people that are just like, oh, I had a bad day. I'm talking about people who will literally take every single thing you say and they have to disagree with you. They have to try to reframe what you said, and no, I don't agree with this because da 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 blah blah blah. Like that kind of stuff is hard when you already struggle with the feeling that you're not good enough, or you struggle with feeling like what you have to say is not as important, because when someone comes in and they just tear it down and they're like, no, actually this, and no, actually that, and no, da 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 da, until the imposter syndrome kicks in. But what I had to finally remind myself of is that I know what I'm talking about. I know how to discuss things, and I know that I have the knowledge to back up the thought process that I have behind something. And if I'm not able to back it up, or if I am in a place where I find out that I'm wrong, then I'm just going to take that L and I'm just going to move on from there. There's no point in jumping up and down and being upset about it. So that has been the most challenging part of being a content creator. So our very last question is, where do I see myself in 5 years? Now, I had a little bit of trouble thinking of this one because I was like, well, what do I want to do? What do I want to be? But I think that in 5 years, where I would like to be and what I would like to be doing is hosting panels at Comic-Cons across the globe. I would love the opportunity to make, I think, higher budget versions sort of what I'm doing now. I would like to be in the industry. And I don't mean industry as in acting, but I mean like I would like to be a full-fledged, full-time content creator who's able to give you full-length projects, things that you will be able to just sit there and binge. I'd like to be a full-time podcaster. And just first and foremost, I think I would like to be in a position where I can fully entertain you and give myself to the people who supported me. I see myself having a company that is fully fleshed out so that I can pay my moderators and my admins, because they have literally been my lifeline through this entire process. They've been my backbone. And I would love to be able to pour back into them financially, the way they poured into me financially, emotionally, and everything else. And just, that's what I see. I know I'm trying to be specific. I really am. I'm trying to be specific and intentional with what I'm saying. I'll be 100% honest with y'all and tell you that I've always had trouble kind of conceptualizing that far in the future, because I've always had such an internal insecurity that I never really saw myself being able to go that far. I never saw myself being able to do the things that I'm doing right now. Even by filming this video, you know, this is something that I've always wanted to do, but I just never really thought that it would be possible for me. So I think I'm still kind of in that dreamer phase a little bit, where I'm just like, this is this is what I want to do. This is what I want to be. And it gets a little overwhelming sometimes to think about the bigger picture. And I know that I need to focus on the bigger picture. I need to have that in my mind if I'm going to go there. So I'm going to think about that one a little bit more. And I'm going to have a solid answer for you. Like I said, though, I do want to host panels. I would love to do things that would pour back into my community. There's so much I want to do. So much I want to do. That wraps up the self-interview, y'all. This was amazing. This was really, really good. And I'm over the moon that I got a chance to share this with y'all. This was, I think, some good information. And I decided to do this because, as you might know, I want to move back into doing like Ratchet Charmed, which I'm going to rename. And it just made me so nostalgic. And as I was starting to think about the journey that I've been on, and I've really thought about where I started versus where I am right now, I just felt the need to share at least a piece of this journey with you. And in doing so, I've kind of inspired myself, because I see how far we've come as a community, how far I've come as a person, and I'm just ready for the next chapter. So if you like the video, then hit the subscribe button so that you can always come back for more. Make sure to hit the little notification bell so that you'll be notified when I upload a video. And you can head on over to, my different socials, and you can find me there. Follow me anywhere at They Call Me Mr. G. So as always, I want to give a quick shout out to my lovely, beautiful patrons over on Patreon. Thank you so much for supporting me. Thank you so much for being on the journey with me. You have supported me financially, emotionally, and all kind of other illies that we can think about. So thank you so much for being here for me. And if you or someone you know would like to join the Patreon and help support the channel /brand, then head on over to patreon.com/powerofg, and you can get all the behind the scenes tea. You can get bonus content, and we're going to start back our watch parties in May, so you might want to be a part of that. And with that, everybody, I'm going to go ahead and end this video here. I hope that y'all have a great morning, evening, afternoon, whatever it is, wherever you are. Don't forget to head over to powerofgcommunity.com so you can browse around, see what we got going on. And you can also go to shop.powerofgcommunity.com. There you can see all of our merch. You can see everything that we have, and you can get you a hat, you can get you a beanie, you can get you a blanket, you can get you a tumbler. Whatever it is, you can get it there. So hopefully I will see you around, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.
We got the power. We got the power.